Now on CoastTV News.
New mayor in Georgetown.
I'm ready to get started and see what we can do to kind of turn this town around.
Mayor Angela Townsend's plans to improve the town and addressing issues in Georgetown. Delaware Supreme Court rules against Sussex County, what the ruling means for offshore wind projects. Teen takeovers nationwide.
We need to have a proactive approach from police, whereas they should be monitoring social media.
How police are preparing on the coast.
We haven't had much in the way of impressive showers, but things may change on Wednesday.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Mayor Angela Townsend taking office tonight in Georgetown. Good evening and thank you for sticking around to join us for CoastTV News. I'm Brandon Ferguson. We begin with the county seat under new leadership. Tonight's swearing in comes after now former Mayor Bill West announced earlier this year he was going to retire after being in office for 12 years. As for the new mayor, Angela Townsend is familiar to Georgetown as she previously served on town council. CoastTV News reporter Anna Sophia Rahman shows us what her plans are for the town.
Help me God.
So help me God.
Mayor Angela Townsend takes office in the county seat. Townsend told CoastTV News she's looking forward to taking action.
I'm ready to get started and see what we can do to kind of turn this town around.
Mayor Townsend shared some of her plans for the town.
I want to do a newsletter, maybe do it every other month, every month, whatever. But we need something out there to get the word out there as to what we're doing. I want to work on repairing the relationship I have with the Chamber of Commerce.
Regarding the homeless issue the town faces, Mayor Townsend said she wants to close down the chairper's office since, quote, they enable them.
There's other organizations here in town, nonprofits that work, but they all need to work together. They need a way to document when Joe Smith comes in. He's a homeless. Where have you been before? Have you gotten services from this one? Have you gotten services from that one? What kind of services have you gotten? Nothing is recorded. So he can bounce from nonprofit to nonprofit.
For years now, the Confederate flag at the Georgetown Historical Society has been a controversial issue of debate.
What do you have to say to people who think that the flag stands for hate and racism?
Really, I don't have anything to say on that because I thought before this interview that I'm tired of the same questions over and over again. I have no control over that flag. None. I'm a member out there. I'm a treasurer out there. But I have no control over that flag. That question should be asked to the Delaware Grays, to the Daughters of the Confederacy, and to the president of the Georgetown Historic Society.
Georgetown resident John Peterson has drafted a resolution for town council's consideration regarding the flag display.
When that symbol is displayed alongside institutions that help define Georgetown's civic identity, it enters the town's public life and signals to Black residents that they stand outside the promise of equal standing.
CoastTV News reached out to the Georgetown Historical Society but have not heard back.
Mayor Townsend will serve a 2-year term here in Georgetown. Other things she said she was going to focus was to form committees to deal with some things happening in town. Those appointed will be selected through an application process. In Georgetown, Ana Sofia Roman, CoastTV News.
It was not just Mayor Angela Townsend being sworn in tonight. Councilman Penuel Barrett, representing Ward 4, was reelected, and Councilman Michael Briggs from Ward 3 were also sworn in. Barrett will serve as the town's new vice mayor and Briggs as the secretary. And now let's take a live look outside into the state's capital, Dover, and bring in our First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams for a look at our weather. Good evening, Paul.
Right now, we're picking up on a good deal of moisture that's beginning to kind of accumulate over portions of Rehoboth Beach at this time. We are concerned about dense fog causing some concerns with visibility on the roads at this hour, and going into tomorrow morning, that will also be a primary concern in the morning time. And in the afternoon, we may have to deal with a thunderstorm or two, legitimately a real thunderstorm or two. We're at 68 degrees as of right now. We're going to stay in the 60s. We'll drop to 64 by 3 o'clock in the morning with partly to mostly cloudy skies in our area. We're holding pretty mild actually right now. 68 degrees in Milton and Long Neck, as well as Rehoboth Beach, where it's 68 degrees in Gumboro and 68 degrees right now in Delmar. Here's the latest look at the radar depiction of what's going on. We can see a couple of sprinkles briefly across the peninsula. Not enough to really cause a significant amount to be measured at this point. We're still relatively dry, but we should have some measurable rain as we go into tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. We'll talk more about that and what I'm tracking coming up in a moment. Till then, back to you, Brandon.
Thank you, Paul. Delaware Supreme Court has sided with the state in a major offshore wind dispute involving Sussex County. In a unanimous decision today, the court upheld state laws that overturned Sussex County's council's denial of a permit needed for U.S. Wind's proposed substation near the Indian River Power Plant. The court ruled the General Assembly has the authority to modify or reclaim powers given to local governments. A separate federal lawsuit over the offshore wind project is still ongoing. Maryland Governor Wes Moore today signed two controversial public safety bills into law. The first, the Youth Charging Reform Act, keeps kids aged 10 to 16 in the juvenile court system for certain serious charges. Supporters say it focuses on rehabilitation, while critics warn it could weaken accountability. Another bill signed today will restrict the use of masks by law enforcement during public interactions, with exceptions for health, undercover work, or hazardous conditions. It was introduced in the wake of mass ICE detainments across the country. That law takes effect in October there in Maryland. We have an update to a deadly crash that happened over Memorial Day weekend. Delaware State Police identified 34-year-old Leandre Boone of Lincoln as a driver in a deadly Harrington crash. Here's how that crash happened, according to state police. DSP says Boone lost control of his Nissan Altima going around a curve on Sandbox Road and hit a tree. Troopers say the man was not properly restrained. Selbyville town leaders want your input. They want community members to participate in the Downtown Development District Community Survey. The town says it's designed to gather feedback for future downtown projects as a part of the Delaware Downtown Development District program. Neighbors, businesses, employees, and even visitors are invited to participate. Not a lot of time left, though. The survey will close tomorrow, May 27th. Now to the latest construction project at the White House, a temporary arena for a UFC fight scheduled for the president's birthday. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez shows us the latest.
Tonight, new construction is underway for an unprecedented spectacle, a cage fight at the White House. A massive arch taller than the building itself, part of a makeshift arena for an upcoming Ultimate Fighting Championship event.
I have never seen anybody want anything so much as people want those tickets.
Gets you over the top with that right hand.
The mixed martial arts matches are scheduled for June 14th to celebrate America's 250th anniversary. The date for the fight also happens to be President Trump's birthday. It's a remarkable sight, the construction looming over the West Wing and the cranes for the ballroom project on the other side. The president has said that this temporary arena will hold more than 4,000 people.
We are going to pull off the boldest idea in sports history.
Tickets are free, and the UFC is footing the bill for the event. But NBC News has learned sponsorship packages that include ringside seats have been selling for $1 million or more, according to a Republican lobbyist familiar with the process. Decades ago, the president hosted boxing matches at his casinos. And he's often seen at UFC fights.
I know President Trump is a fighter.
UFC's President Dana White endorsing him in 2024.
I'm in the tough guy business, and this man is the toughest, most resilient human being that I've ever met in my life.
Trump supporter and UFC announcer Joe Rogan will be there, though Rogan also called the event a gimmick. Life is a gimmick, the president responded, but it's a good gimmick. It's going to be amazing.
Coming up next, Paul Williams is in the CoastTV First Alert Weather Center, and he has your full forecast a little later in our broadcast. But first, a look from above at the Bay Bridge, the history of the iconic structure when we return.
America 250 on Delmarva, brought to you by Johnny Janosic.
The Chesapeake Bay divides Maryland's mainland from the eastern shore. Ferries were once popular for bridging the gap until traffic increased and they could no longer handle the demand. Bay Bridge proposals appeared as early as 1907. but plans made in 1927 were scrapped by the stock market crash of 1929. It wasn't until 1939 that the Maryland General Assembly authorized bridge construction, which was then delayed again by World War II. Finally, construction on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge began in 1947 and was completed 5 years later. The Army Corps of Engineers would not approve the design unless it crossed the shipping channel at a 90-degree angle, resulting in the bridge's unique curve. At the time it was built, the Chesapeake Bay Bridge was the longest over-water structure in the world at 4.2 miles long. Today, the Chesapeake Bay Bridge transports between 20 to 30 million cars every year, an important connection point of Maryland.
Find savings everywhere you turn. Memorial Day savings are extended at Johnny Janasek. Get our guaranteed lowest prices on furniture and mattresses. Then take an extra 20% off or 0% APR financing for 60 months. Plus 10% off all Tommy Bahama styles. Get this 5-piece immersive sound sectional for just $29.88 or this 3-piece outdoor sectional only $16.88. But the Memorial Day sale ends Monday, only at Johnny Janasek.
So we've been really in need of precipitation, and I've kind of said this ad nauseum for the last couple of weeks, and it looks like we may have a really decent shot at some significant rain that could possibly drop at least a half an inch in one setting or one day, and that hasn't happened in quite some time. But right now we're at 63 degrees in Ocean City, and we're going to stay in the mid to low 60s for the rest of the evening with mostly cloudy skies. The latest look at live radar, we had a flaring up, just a brief flaring up right there of the scattered showers that pushed through, and then they pushed right on off into the water. Most of that rain didn't even reach the ground because it's just really light sprinkles. And we just haven't had any really impressive scattered shower activity over our neck of the woods. Now, we've had some dense fall concerns, and we'll have that for tomorrow morning, but then it'll burn off for us by the afternoon hours. But it's going to take till the afternoon to occur. Take a look at this. This is a look at the observed rain we've had in the last 24 hours. We had 1/100th of an inch of rain recorded in Ocean City. Same holds true for us actually in Salisbury, and actually zilch to zero at our official site in Georgetown. So we're still in a somewhat dry pattern, although it's been damp a whole lot. So I want you to think our precipitation thus far has been more damp than downpour. 69 degrees for us right now in Georgetown, Laurel, Bridgeville, Harrington, and Redden, as well as Lewis. For along the coast for Wednesday, winds are going to be pushing out of the southwest. We're going to have a chance of at least a 40 to 50% chance of actual thunderstorms beginning to push through. And they're not going to be moving so fast this time around. So I'm not overly concerned about them being severe, but they will get a chance because they were just slow enough to perhaps drop about a half an inch of rain our way. You see, we start off in the morning time with some moderate possible showers. Then it thins out by 8 o'clock. Then we have one cell that pushes across quickly in the afternoon. That could be our possibility of a cell or thunderstorm. And then the latest models indicating it will begin to clear out by the time we get to the 7 o'clock hour. But then another wave will surge in going into the evening hours. So all of that gives us the possibility of rain. As far as the amount of rain is concerned, not much has moved on that. So we're looking at maybe an inch in Berlin, most impressive site, over a 2-day period, not one, but over a 2-day period. So we'll still be pining for precipitation. And even as we break it down city by city, in Georgetown, we went from widespread down to scattered. So we ran this earlier this evening. The notches, the higher the scale goes, the better your chances of rain. For Salisbury, we're at scattered numerous, and then for, as you see blue here, for Rehoboth, we're at scattered. We were up here at widespread earlier today, and now it's been tapped down. And even as you take a look at our more individual sites, you'll notice we've dropped from a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch down to maybe a 1/4 of an inch, best case scenario. So look for that chance of rain on Wednesday for us in Ocean City as well as Fenwick Island with a high of 80 degrees. A lot of thermodynamic energy to give us a shot at some showers, but the dynamics are falling apart as we speak. Finally, here's a look at the 7-day forecast. We will stay in the 70s, which is actually the norm for this time of the year.
Thank you, Paul. A booming viral trend known as teen takeovers turned violent in Chicago this weekend, with dozens arrested and 5 officers hospitalized. Now local officials are asking if it's time to charge the parents.
Tonight, dramatic new video of Chicago police pinning people down. and struggling to quell massive Memorial Day crowds. Police say 53 people were arrested and nearby 3 teens were shot. This 24 hours after investigators say an 18-year-old plowed his car into a crowd of 5 officers, all now in fair condition. The teen charged with attempted murder. 2 so-called teen takeovers in 24 hours. A viral trend sweeping the nation with massive gatherings organized online and unleashed on unsuspecting communities coast to coast, often turning chaotic or violent. In Tampa, police body camera video shows massive fights amid a teen takeover earlier this month. Here, you see the mayhem from above. Authorities say 22 people were arrested, as young as 12. Another brawl breaking out at this Chipotle in Washington, D.C. And outside Milwaukee, cars spinning out in this intersection. Authorities last month responding to 12 teen takeovers in one weekend. Now, Chicago officials weighing targeting parents, with one representative proposing charging parents of minors arrested at teen takeovers after the city's 10 p.m. curfew with contributing to the delinquency of a minor, a Class A misdemeanor punishable by up to a $2,500 fine and 364 days in jail. This strategy of potentially charging parents, do you think it would be effective?
I think that it's a start. We need to have a proactive approach from police, whereas they should be monitoring social media to establish where these meetups would be occurring and placing officers accordingly.
One idea as desperation to rein in teen takeovers grows. Maggie Vespa, NBC News, Chicago.
There was also some Memorial Day weekend crime here on the coast. Early Saturday morning, the popular restaurant Woody's in Dewey Beach was vandalized, causing over $6,000 of damage. Dewey police say right there, 23-year-old Joseph Hoyle from Middletown turned himself in. Witnesses told police they saw Hoyle on the deck, but thought he was an employee. He is now charged with third-degree burglary, felony criminal mischief, and criminal trespass. This comes after, over in Rehoboth Beach just last week, police say an advertised takeover event brought a large crowd to the Rehoboth Beach and on the boardwalk. You can see some video right there. The response led to multiple arrests and brought in help from Delaware State Police, DENREC, and several nearby departments. Police say warrants were issued for 4 people accused of organizing the event. So far, 3 have turned themselves in, but police say Eric Barnett still has not. Rehoboth PD says they are preparing for future events like this. And we do have more details on the alleged vandalism and the Rehoboth Beach takeover right now on CoastTV.com. In Lewis right now, there are 2 investigations going on. We're going to break them down for you. One deals with a deleted meeting video that criticized a councilman before the May 9th election. One investigation will deal with workplace harassment complaints. We'll get to that shortly, but first you need to know Lewis records its council and commission meetings. But 2 days before the recent election, a council member and city staff were criticized. That video was mysteriously taken down from the city's website. After that, the council person in question won his election by only 35 votes. Now the mayor, Amy Marasco, says she will appoint an independent investigator to find out who took down the video and why, and if it was politically motivated.
This is Kevin Mallinson at the Historic Preservation Architectural Review Commission on May 7th. The group's former chair, not there to talk about historic homes, but his experience with Lewis City Council and administration.
Rather than finding cooperation and collaboration with the city, I found obstruction. Serious inquiries that I sent to the city manager's office or the building department often went unanswered. Rather, I noticed a pattern of delay, deflect, and deceive.
Mallinson also targeted Councilmember Joe Elder, who was sitting right there.
His inappropriate comments, his backroom negotiations with applicants, and wild confabulations have really been disruptive.
This video was taken off the city website, and 2 days after H. Park met,
I, Joseph Elder.
I, Joseph Elder.
Elder went on to win re-election to city council by just 35 votes. When asked about the video being taken down, the man Elder beat for that spot, Kevin Keene, telling us today, quote, "The timing raises questions." Councilman Elder exclusively telling Coast TV today, quote, It had nothing to do with me. I did not ask to have it taken down. I have nothing to do with it being taken down. The mayor of Lewis, Amy Marasco, saying tonight, on top of figuring out why the video went down, the city will look at how to prevent something like this in the future.
Lewis building official John Ward reached out to CoastTV this afternoon to say he was the reason the video was removed. Ward says he requested the video be taken down, but he claims he does not know who actually did take the video down. Ward tells us there was an ongoing personal complaint, and he feared comments made about him would influence his complaint. So he asked the video to be taken down pending an independent legal review. Ward calls his complaint an active investigation, which would make it the third investigation we've been made aware of happening in Lewis City Hall. Now, the missing video is investigation number 1. As soon as the mayor appoints the investigator into the video, we'll get that information to you. Now let's talk about investigation number 2. This involves claims of workplace harassment at Lewis City Hall. Lewis City Manager and Deputy City Manager have filed formal workplace complaints against Deputy Mayor Khalil Saliba. The complaints accuse Saliba of harassment, bullying, retaliation, and discrimination, alleging a pattern of hostile behavior dating back to the summer of 2025. The complaints includes claims of intimidation, public humiliation, and an alleged comment involving a gun during a conversation about staffing for a city event. Saliba tells CoastTV the allegations are categorically false. The city manager and deputy city manager are asking for an independent review and for Saliba to resign from council. And there's actually another layer to these investigations, an email exclusively obtained by CoastTV News written by a city staffer saying working at City Hall is toxic. The letter also called City Hall negative. It was emailed to the Lewis Mayor, Council, City Manager, and more last Friday. In the letter, the staffer writes that in just a few months, they've witnessed a coworker being coerced into performing a task she wasn't comfortable with. The staffer goes on to say another employee was berated to the point of tears. Now, we know you have questions. We also have questions here at CoastTV. We'll stay on this story and provide those answers as we get them. And this brings us to our CoastTV poll. We want to know, how should town handle divisive issues? Let's take a look at the updated results from our 6 p.m. news hour. So far, the majority, 74%, saying public forums, 12% saying council action. The last two there split at 7%. If you haven't voted yet, you still can on coasttv.com or on our mobile app. Coming up, local talent on a national level. A Wycomico County 8th grader in a national spelling bee. But first, in sports, find out what makes Caesar Rodney Field Hockey so special. The Riders are DSN's latest Dream Team of the Month. DSN just handed out its latest Dream Team of the Month award. Tyler Aiken visited a group that's been growing consistently over the last few seasons.
Caesar Rodney Fields Hockey has been making steady progress as of late.
Our freshman year, we did not have a good culture. To my senior year, we had a great culture. And honestly, coming in this season, I didn't think we were going to be super amazing, and we made it to the semifinals. So that was definitely a huge thing for us.
You can say that again. It was CR's best postseason performance in 2 decades. Culture has been a big part of the Riders' recent upward trajectory.
I think that we're all really close. We're all a big family on the hockey field, and we could all be friends outside of hockey, and I don't know, we all just have fun, work hard, and yeah.
Outside of hockey, we all hang out, so it's not just we're just friends at hockey.
Earlier today, we had Caesar Rodney gather all those friends together for a surprise to start off their school day. DSN and Toyota were told about what a great job you guys did, not just a few seasons ago, not just 2 seasons ago, last year in the fall, making the program's first semifinals in the state in almost 20 years. We've been hearing about the great future that's coming ahead. There's a bright future ahead for this Riders team. And so us and Toyota have partnered. We have a check for $1,000. You guys are our Dream Team of the Month. Congratulations. I mentioned a bright future, and that optimism comes straight from the CR seniors.
I think it's going to be good. I think nothing's really like drastically changing. They're all a great group of girls, and I think they're going to strive no matter what.
Congratulations to Caesar Rodney Field Hockey, our latest Dream Team of the Month, made possible by our friends at Toyota. Reporting from Camden, Delaware, I'm Tyler Aiken, DSN.
Now let's take a live look outside into Lewis, and after the break, we will have a full look at your forecast. One Wycomico County 8th grader is in the nation's capital today, representing Maryland's Eastern Shore as its top speller. Megan Barrientos is moving on in the National Scripps Spelling Bee after advancing past the second round of preliminaries. Now this is Megan's second year at the competition. Megan now faces round 3 test of preliminaries.
Good luck to her for that, for sure. In Milford, where it's 70 degrees actually at this present time. We're going to drop back to 68. Could get some late sprinkles developing at about 3 o'clock in the morning. And we're going to brace for some rain for tomorrow, but we'll have some dense fog initially. But we're looking relatively clear at this point. Our umbrella giveaway winner is Todd Cooper of Rehoboth Beach. Congratulations. You're our umbrella giveaway winner, courtesy of Paul Davis, property restoration expert. Be sure you keep up with your forecast with our weather line, sponsored by the law office of Brockstead, Mandalis, and Federico. And here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast.
Thank you, Paul, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 11. For more news and local weather, you can download our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show, starring Jimmy Fallon, is up next. We'll see you tomorrow morning for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.